Our nation coming together today to remember President John F. Kennedy 50 years after he was shot and killed. There were services today in Dealey Plaza in Dallas, the spot where Kennedy was assassinated. A moment of silence was held just before 1:30.
Tonight, we found this video in our archives showing JFK campaigning in West Michigan less than a month before he was elected president in 1960. You can see him stepping off a train in Kalamazoo.
On that same visit, he paraded through Grand Rapids, giving a West Michigan man a brush with history. And 24 Hour News 8's Marley Ginter's in studio with his story.
Well, Brian and Sue, he got to see JFK up close, and boy, does he have quite the story to tell about it. We've been showing you this picture, and if you look at it closely, you can see two children running alongside Kennedy's car downtown. One of them actually called us after seeing our story at 5 and 6, and new tonight, he's sharing his memory of JFK's visit 5 decades ago.
Dave Chase spent much of his day remembering John F. Kennedy and mourning the man who had a major impact on his life. He was a high schooler in 9th grade the day Kennedy was shot.
I was in study hall, and I don't remember the reason I came out of study hall, but I came down the hallway, and the hall monitor was sitting there at his desk, and he said, "Did you hear that Kennedy was just shot?" Man, about blew me out of my socks.
Chase watched our coverage of the anniversary of JFK's assassination, and when a particular picture popped up, he didn't have to look twice. It's the same picture he sees every day.
Actually, that day, I had an opportunity to shake hands with him twice. I didn't get to talk to him, of course, but I got to shake hands with him. And so it kind of, through that, it kind of made it a little more personal experience that when he was killed.
Chase has this picture blown up, framed, and sitting in his house. He ran alongside the president's car for 6 blocks that day, never forgot a single second of it. And when Kennedy was killed, he couldn't believe it.
You know, I kind of admired the guy. He was a great guy. He never had a chance to show his potential as a president, except for that very short time. It was almost a devastating experience, I guess you'd have to say. Nothing like that had ever happened in my lifetime.
Chase says he remembers running right next to Kennedy, sitting in his car for 6 blocks when he was in Grand Rapids, and says security certainly wasn't what it is today. Brian?
Thank you, Marley. And that limousine that Kennedy was riding in that day in Dallas, it is actually on display at the Henry Ford Museum in Metro Detroit. It's there because Ford Motor Company actually owns the vehicle. It was leased to the Secret Service. They couldn't afford to buy the $200,000 car. After Kennedy was shot, they added a top to it, and the car was returned to service.
The thing that people just can't believe about this car is the fact that it was put back into service and used again until 1977, and especially that President Johnson would ride in this car. He was in the motorcade in Dealey Plaza. He saw what happens, and everything I've read suggests that he wasn't ever particularly comfortable in this car for obvious reasons. But
our coverage continues at woodtv.com. We have posted video of JFK in Kalamazoo back in 1960, along with photos of his stops in Grand Rapids.